Good morning. Boker Tov. Hag Sameach. How are you? It's Tuesday. Yep, it's Torah Tuesday. And we're going to have a shorter one because it's the middle of Pesach. And we're calling it Pesach 2. Because the Parsha this week is about Pesach. So, what I want to talk about is let's keep talking about Pesach, Passover, okay? I want to talk about a couple of things in particular, like Dayenu. When we say Dayenu, okay? What does Dayenu translate to? When we do our Seder, part of it is we say Dayenu. Now, what does Dayenu mean? Well, some people think it means it would have been sufficient. I like the translation, it would have been enough. So let's use that one. It would have been enough. Okay? And what we do is we do a list of things. If God had brought us out of Egypt and had not inflicted judgment upon the Egyptians, it would have been enough. Dayenu. If God had not inflicted justice on them, had not executed judgment against their gods, it would have been enough. Dayenu. If God, you see where we're going here, okay? If God had given us their wealth and had not divided the sea for us, it would have been enough. Dayenu. If God had divided the sea for us and had not made us pass through the dry land, it would have been enough. Dayenu. Where we're going here is whatever God did for us to take us out of the land of Egypt, it would have been enough. But he kept going. So, what do we get out of this? Okay? Are we just saying thank you, thank you, thank you? Well, there's a reason we're saying thank you. Okay? It would have been enough. We're supposed to not look at our blessings and take advantage of it or take granted for it. Take it for granted. Okay? We're supposed to appreciate what we have. Now, in the modern world, this is especially important because we add things. Okay? Yes, we not only add but we add things like we have a place to eat tonight. We have a place to sleep tonight. We have food. We have heat. We have air, whatever. Okay? Okay? It would have been enough, Dayenu. Because one of the major parts of Passover is what? Remembering what we have, saying thank you for what we have, and remembering that there's people who aren't as well off. We were slaves in the land of Egypt. We were brought out of Egypt, taken from slavery by God. Okay? That is the crux, right? That's Passover. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're here for a week, right? Okay. It's not out of our love of matzah. I mean, really. Okay. So that's what Dayenu means. Okay. So in the modern Haggadah, okay, I've got the old Maxwell House Haggadah. Wonderful, wonderful Haggadah, by the way. They've been doing it for the 1920s or something like that. They keep updating it, though. It's really good. They keep updating the language and stuff like that. But it's a great Haggadah. Okay? The other thing I want to bring up is, why do we wash our hands? Not once, but twice. Why do we make a big deal out of washing the hands? People look at me at the Seder the other night. People are going, so what's the big deal? We wash our hands all the time before we eat. It's just common sense. Yes, today it is. Remember, back in the day, okay, we're talking 3,500 years ago, when the Jews were slaves in Egypt, or any slaves for that matter, you didn't have hot and cold running water. You didn't sit and at a table and eat your dinner. You didn't have any of that. You were lucky to get fed when you got fed. You were lucky to find a rock to sit on. Okay, so what's the big deal with washing of the hands? Well, only wealthy people, only noble people, only free people were able to do it. Thus, we make a big deal out of doing things that slaves can't do on Pesach. Okay? For example, we're supposed to put a pillow or lean in our chair during the Seder. Well, I don't know about you, but my mother would have had a fit when we came to dinner like that. We were supposed to sit up straight in our chair and eat dinner and pay attention. Well, at the Seder, we don't. We relax. And why? Because only the rich, only the noble, only the free could do it. That's why. So we want to not act like, but we want to take advantage of the fact that we have the ability to do these things. So we wash our hands, okay, so that we could do that. So I wanted to bring that up, okay. I wanted to bring a couple of those things up, why we did that in our Seder, okay. And I hope everybody opened the door for Elijah. And of course, on one hand, you hope that Elijah shows up. On the other hand, of course, you don't want him to show up. If Elijah shows up, it's the end of times, right? So obviously, you do and you don't. So when Elijah comes, he will usher in the Messianic age. So every Passover, we invite him in. We physically open the door and we invite him in. Now, every once in a while, somebody's there at the door. What do the rabbis teach us? We have to invite that person in, whoever's there. Okay, sometimes there's I was at a Seder years ago, and there was a guy knocking on doors selling magazines, subscriptions. Okay, and he just happened to be there when we opened the door for Elijah. We not only invited him in, we wouldn't let him leave until he had something to eat and drink. Okay, we have to extend our hospitality. Again, why? Because it's the right thing to do. Because again, when we were slaves in Egypt, nobody extended us any hospitality, right? So we have something, and it's our responsibility to share. All right, just a couple of points I wanted to bring up. And I hope you're enjoying your Pesach. I hope the bread of affliction isn't afflicting you. But there's a lot of great recipes out there for matzah. My wife made chocolate-covered matzah last night. Life is wonderful. And I hope your matzo ball soup is outrageous, as my wife's makes. Yes, I like her cooking. Get over it. So, I kind of like her. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I'll see you next Tuesday at Torah Tuesday. Chag Sameach.